Welcome. Today we are addressing to ourselves as that while we are preparing for judicial service examinations, we, the aspirants of this service, are to get confidence in our preparations. The questions being put to ourselves is how we can ensure confidence in our preparations for the examination. The specific poser is as we, the aspirants of judicial service, shall in which way approach the syllabi to ensure complete confidence in our preparations. The experience based suggestion is that we shall prepare scripture wise. Our syllabi is having a number of scriptures, number of statutes, number of enactments. These are about 20. As the syllabi is having a coverage of as many as 20 statutes, 20 scriptures, as such, we shall prepare scripture wise. Each statute, each enactment be taken as a scripture. Take the text of these statutes, these enactments, as hymns of scriptures. These are sanctified. These have statutory sanctions. There are sanctions of the legislatures. There is sanction of the Constitution. These texts have legal sanctions. These statutes are legally enforceable statutes. As these statutes are enforceable statutes, as such, we have to imbibe the values of these statutes. Each and every clause of these statutes is to be taken as sacrosanct, as legally enforceable value. Once we shall be approaching these statutes, these enactments as scriptures, then certainly our imbibing index will be much deeper. We will be face to face with these values with full intensity. The intensity of the implications of the provisions of the texts are to be absorbed by us. This should not only remain an intellectual exercise. A step ahead, one is to visualize the practical implications of different provisions. Therefore, this preparation of ours, which is going to be scripture-wise preparation, and its beginning shall be with the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India is the final yardstick, the final test. The final test of the legal sanctions is the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India is enacted and adopted by us, the people of India, since 26th of January 1950. The Constitution of India has its full flow. The complete reservoir of values as the Constitution of India has its sweeping effect everything gets transformed. The only test is the test of the Constitution of India. All that which is not in consonance with the Constitution of India is not legal within India. All laws as these were prior to coming into enforcement of the values of the Constitution of India stand invalidated to the extent of their inconsistency with the values of the Constitution of India. Let us have a text of the Constitution of India in our hands. Let us be through this text. Let us be sequentially through this text. The text begins with the preamble, and then it is divided into parts, and at the end there are schedules. Beginning with the preamble and reaching up till the last 11th statute schedule of the Constitution of India as such makes the Constitution. The text of the Constitution of India begins with the preamble and it completes itself with its last schedule. The broad organization frame of the Constitution is that it is divided into parts. Parts are divided into chapters, and chapters are divided into articles. So, from first article to the last article, there is their classification, their grouping as chapters, and chapters have their groupings as parts, and whole range of parts as such make the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India is one integrated single scripture. This scripture is to be taken as single integrated unified reservoir of values. The values of each and every part, values of each and every chapter, values of each and every article have their equal sanction. The sanctified as the text is, the same deserves to be approached with equal sanctity. The provisions of this text are the hymns of the scriptures for us. The values of the Constitution shall be taken as the touchstone in terms of which the legality of each and every action, each and every power, each and every institutional framework is to be tested. Even all the laws of the parliament, all the laws of state legislatures, and even all the judgments of lower courts, high courts, and even of the Supreme Court itself are to be visited in terms of the values of the Constitution itself. Therefore, we shall be well acquainted with the text of the Constitution of India. We shall know what its preamble provides. We shall know what it has different sanctions. We shall know who can be the President of India. We shall know who can be the Chief Justice of India. We shall know who can be the Governor of India. We shall know who can be the Judge of the Supreme Court, who can be Judge of the High Court, who can be a judicial officer. The qualifications for different institutions, different chairs, different offices are to be as per the provisions of the values of the Constitution of India. Therefore, while we want to ensure confidence in our preparations for the judicial service examination as per the syllabi of this service competitive examination, we shall approach it sequentially, and for it the beginning naturally is to be with the Constitution of India. Then we have to sequentially take each and every enactment, each and every statute as a scripture in itself. Unless and until the provisions of those particular statutes are in any way contrary to the values of the Constitution of India. But for that, the provisions and values of each and every statutes are sanctified. This being so, we have to prepare ourselves. We have to be exhaustively approachable. We have to be fully parallel with. We have to have complete acquaintance with the provisions of all these statutes, all these enactments, all these scriptures. These 20 scriptures make the syllabi of our competitive examination. Our preparation that way is to be parallel with these expectations. Now, see, one way is that we shall ask as many questions as we can. And if we begin with the Constitution of India, we can say to ourselves, since when it has come in operation, we can say how it was prepared, how it was adopted, how it was sanctified, how it is enforced. We can say to ourselves all what queries, curiosities, anxieties, urges we have about the Constituent Assembly, the assembly which has drafted this constitution for us. Who was the president? Who was the chairman? Who was the chairman of the drafting committee? And all that. Who are the members? How the choice of members was made? How long these members debated? How long these proceedings of the Constitution, Constituent Assembly had continued, how ultimately the culmination point has reached. What was the status of this Constituent Assembly on the day it was constituted in 1945? We know Government of India Act 1935 was the constitution of the day for India. We know that sovereignty vested in the British Parliament. We know that the political atmosphere, the political liveliness, the political aliveness, and all those connected factors were there which had their vibrations in the Constitution as well as in the deliberations of the Constituent Assembly as well. What was its position on 14th August 1947? What was its position on 15th August 1947? What difference we had as transition point from 14th August 1947 to 15th August 1947 at the midnight moment when Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was addressing Tirest with Destiny, how Mahatma Gandhi at that moment was meditating at Calcutta, how from 15th August 1947 to 25th of January 1950, this constitution, this Constituent Assembly had its also simultaneous parallel functional reality for exercise of the powers and to act as the parliament as well. How the chairman of the Constituent Assembly had taken the responsibilities as a transitory step as the President of India. These and all other connected aspects, these and all connected values are to be fully absorbed by us. How we had adopted our national flag, how we have adopted Ashoka pillar symbol set up as our national emblem, how we had adopted and accepted our national anthem, how the federal court transited and transformed the Supreme Court of India, how the Governor General transited and transformed as the Governor General of India, how the Governor General of India transited and transformed as President of India. These and all other connections, these and all other aspects are very relevant aspects about which we have to be intimately absorbing recipients. We, the aspirants of judicial service, have to approach the Constitution of India as a Bible for us. We have to absorb the values of the Constitution of India. We have to ask many questions to ourselves. We have to find answers for all our queries. We have to be well acquainted with the functional reality parallel with the academic reality of the text of the Constitution of India. We have to absorb the distribution of the sovereignty. We have to be face to face with the functional reality of the sovereignty through judicial courts at all levels. We have to be fully conscious as that each and every court at each and every level is exercising sovereignty powers. How the sovereignty of India is having its functional apparatus. This way, we have to reach from the academic text to the institutional text, how these textual provisions or the functional institutional reality. This textbook, the text of Constitution of India, is the text of institutional network. So from the academic text to the institutional text is a reach which will reflect the index of our comprehension and absorptions of the values of the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India is not only a theoretical text. The Constitution of India is a set of well organized institutional net. We are under the functional apparatus of the Constitution as constitutional institutions. Each and every institution is having a constitutional sanction. Any institution which is not having a constitutional sanction is illegal. Within India, the entire constitutional functional apparatus as institutional apparatus is to be comprehended for its comprehension and implementation steps. Each institution is to be manned. It is the individuals, it is the Indian citizens who will be occupying the chairs, the institutional chairs. All institutions as legal persons are to function through natural persons, or the transition from the natural person to institutional person is visualized, realized, and practicalized, made into practical reality by the Constitution of India. Therefore, while we have to be through the provisions of these statutes as scriptures, we have to have our eye upon the practical aspect as to how the theoretical academic values or functional reality as legal persons' duties performed by the natural persons. A reach from a natural person to a legal person to a sanctified institution are the phases and stages through which we have to pass through while we shall be absorbing the values of the Constitution of India and all other statutes. Each and every statute, each and every enactment is laying down institutional network. Statutes create institutions. Statutorily constituted institutions become legal persons. The duties of the legal persons are to be performed by natural persons. So we, the aspirants of judicial service as natural persons, will ultimately be vested with the duties, responsibilities to function as legal persons. Judicial officers as legal persons have to behave, conduct, and perform as an institution. Court and presiding officer of the court are two distinct personalities. These are two distinct institutions. Both have their distinct domains, functional duties. We have to be realistically face to face with the difference between the court and the presiding officer of the court. Like that, each and every institution created by the laws under the Constitution of India are to be approached. Therefore, while we will be through the values of the scriptures, we have to be very conscious as that we have to be highly distinctive in appreciation of the institution, legal person, and the natural person. Thank you very much.